Do not forget to entertain strangers, for by so doing, some people have entertained angels without knowing it. Yes, so there's a story in Genesis about Abraham and his wife Sarah. They were at home chilling, and then suddenly they saw these three men right outside their tent, and so Abraham approached the men and invited them to his house, and he asked Sarah to prepare a meal for them. What Abraham did not know is that he was entertaining three angels. He had no idea that these men were angels, and so he had a meal with them. And after the meal, the one of the men prophesied to him that at the end of the of 1 year, by the same time next year, the Abraham would have a son, and this son was the long-awaited son called Isaac. Why this is a beautiful story is because Sarah and Abraham were old. Sarah was 90 and Abraham was 100. And so all hopes of having a child had already disappeared from them. But these angels were bearers of good news. And so the Bible tells us to entertain these strangers. We don't know whether we are entertaining angels in the form of strangers. So please entertain strangers as much as possible. You know, the interesting thing that I read, I've been reading Genesis again, and one of the things that stood out to me is that before Genesis 6, people lived to hundreds and hundreds of years, 900 years, 700 years, and all the works. And then after Genesis 6, when the Lord now cut short the number of years, the Lord said that the number of years will be capped at 120. And so now, our lifespan is at most 120. So anything above, 80, 90 is a bonus. And so Sarah and Abraham were considered old post Genesis 6. However, pre Genesis 6, Abraham and Sarah would have been considered, a young boy and young girl. In fact, as a matter of fact, Noah was 500 years before he had his first child. And so, having a child not having a child at 100 was not even a big deal. It was like you were considered a small boy. I mean, you cannot sit in the presence of 900-year-old grandfathers. If you're 100 years, you're a child. However, post